You ready? You got me running, got me running. Shake it, shake it, shake it, feel that. Raise your hands up, raise them up.
Okay, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Forex Trading Asia Daily Currency Call, episode 307. Today is the 8th of June, Tuesday, 11 a.m. Singapore time. Okay, so this currency call, you will get market economic updates, key support resistance levels, trade ideas, and more. This currency call is going to be very beneficial to both the long-term investors and short-term traders. We will be going through our move prices, possible trade ideas, and also highlighting potential targets and risk. So a disclaimer here, any information shared during this session is not intended to be a trade recommendation. It is solely the opinion and views of the speaker. So please remember to do your own analysis prior to entering any trades. Okay, so let's start things off with the dollar index. So let's get Scott here, Scott Andrews from Forex Briefcase Australia, to do the analysis on dollar index. Scott.
All right, hi everyone, and happy Tuesday as well. So US dollar index, there wasn't really much news out for the US dollar last night. And what I'll do here is I'll just share the screen now as well. So, as we've discussed previously, we've seen quite a lot of support down where it currently is. So I'll just bring up the 4-hour time frame. So look, we've seen it just get below 90. So where this red line is currently is where support has been seen previously. A couple things to take note for today. We've got later in the evening at 8:30 GMT +8, we've got the trade balance data coming out as well. So I'll be paying attention to that. A little bit later at 10 o'clock in the evening, we've got the JOLT job openings as well. But, really what we've seen with this recent behavior of the US dollar is that this was a little unexpected, and some people might call this something like market manipulation. We saw it dive down again. Now we might see it steady out a little bit. It's just breaking out now. Very early days to be saying that we're going to see it move high significantly. We're going to have to wait for a catalyst. I mean, just looking at the price action right here, where we still need to give this candle a little bit of time to develop on the 4-hour time frame. So we'll see where this wants to close. If we can see it close above 90 and close near the high, then leading into the data release tonight, that's obviously going to help. And then we've got later in the day, later in the week, we've got CPI data coming out as well. So it just, these factors add to the long bias on the US dollar shorter term. Again, there's been no mention of tapering yet, really significantly. So we might have to wait a little bit into this month. We've got the FOMC meeting as well coming up. So again, it's just a matter of being a little bit patient. And if you are getting into a trade, we had a nice call on the New Zealand dollar long, and that was helped quite a bit by just a little bit of intraday weakness on the US dollar as well. So you just sort of have to adapt a little bit and just sort of play the ranges. So we are seeing it bottoming out a little bit. That happened last night, and then we're just sort of seeing it trailing up and breaking through 90. So long biased, but no immediate trade entry until we just see a little bit of clarity from today's trade balance that's coming out tonight at 8:30 Singapore time. And then we'll sort of wait and see how the price action looks from there for getting a little bit more of a trade idea confirmation. But those are my thoughts on the US dollar.
Okay, thank you, Scott. All right, so today is Tuesday. The currency focus today is Euro. So we're going to get Jindal Tai, founder of LCMS Traders, a multi-million-dollar trader trading an account with more than $15 million on a daily basis. All right, Jin, I'll pass the time to you now for the Euro currency call.
All right, good morning, everyone. So first off, I'm always happy to hear what Scott has to say about the dollar index, because while that's one of the things that I look at, it's always good to have multiple views of an instrument, of a currency, or of the index, just to align what I might be thinking or what I expect to see happen with the movements. So super happy to have heard what Scott is thinking about the dollar index, because somewhat along the same lines. But first, looking at the euro dollar, what could happen to the euro dollar for today and leading up for this week? First things first, looking at the news here on Forex Trading Asia, looking at the economic calendar. Today being Tuesday, we have the Euro GDP numbers to be released at 5 p.m. GMT plus 8 Singapore time. But you can see that GDP quarter on quarter, GDP year on year for the euro dollar is not going to change that much. It hasn't changed that much in the overall scheme of things. So expected to stay at a minus 0.6% quarter on quarter, and expected to stay at a minus 1.8% year on year for the euro GDP. So what this means is, despite it staying at a negative percentage number here, I don't think we're going to see that big drop in the euro dollar as what we would normally see for a negative GDP. This is somewhat expected, this is somewhat priced in. What we're going to see is that we're going to see some movements, but not a long-term sustained move for the euro dollar. But leading up from this is on Thursday, we do have the Euro deposit facility rate looking to stay at minus 0.5%. That's the interest rate for the Euro in the ECB, staying at minus 0.5%. Pay attention to the rate decision and also the press conference at 8:30 on Thursday evening, whether the ECB is going to signal any further stimulus, or whether they're going to signal any further actions from the ECB to boost the euro dollar against what's happening in terms of the downward moves on COVID, and also the shutdowns that has been rolling across certain parts of Europe. But the good news is that we've been seeing some news of Spain opening up to vaccinated tourists, certain areas opening up to different groups of tour or businesses opening up. So that might be some good news coming from the ECB, some good news coming up for the euro dollar. And then after that, on Friday, not a lot of other news for the euro in particular. With that in mind, right? So we're now thinking GDP is going to stay at a minus 0.8% on a quarter on quarter. We're going to pay attention to the euro interest rate decision on Thursday evening, with particular interest on the press conference. What this could mean is, looking at the charts here, euro dollar on the H4 time frame, we've seen it bounce off. Just yesterday, we saw it bounce off that 1.2145 support level, tracking a little bit higher. Now looking at a retrace. So why I said that I was happy to hear what Scott had to say is, same thing. I anticipate some US dollar strength coming around, right? Some US dollar strength coming around for the euro dollar to come down to test that 1.2145 level again. As it tests that point, with the ECB coming out, possibly with some good news, possibly with either some good news or standing firm with a wait and see approach. No news is good news. So with that, we could actually see that bounce back up again, right? If that support level at 1.2145 is held, we could see it bounce back up towards the 1.2261 resistance level. So what I'll be looking for is not to enter any trades at this point. Let it come down, test that support, bounce off. So you're looking at about 1.2160, looking for buying opportunities. You could have a very tight stop loss of 20 pips. for a take profit of about 100 pips towards the upside. 20 pip stop loss, 100 pip take profit level. You're looking at a 1:5 risk reward ratios towards the upside. Several decision points that you could take advantage of. 40 pips, so 1:2 towards the upside. Make a decision whether to close out that trade or not. And then again, 1:3 at about 60 to 70 pips, and then again at 100 pips. So I don't think it's going to move straight up the 100 pips in a straight line fashion. Many decision points to take advantage of, but you can also be quite safe with a very tight stop loss at about 20 pips. So that's quite simply the euro dollar on the H4 time frame right now at the 1.2179 level. Let it track lower, looking for that bounce off towards the 1.2261 resistance. But as we look at the euro dollar, paying some attention to the euro pound, right? The euro pound here, I will zoom in a little bit just because I want to show you, I really like this rejection. This 1H4 candle rejection of 8580, of 0.8580 price level. We saw it track lower, looks like it was going to break lower, but it rejected that and now looking like it's trying to climb higher. With the anticipated euro dollar tracking lower, or with euro dollar anticipated to track lower before bouncing back up, what we could actually see is for the euro pound to possibly sit across a little bit before tracking up. Sit across a little bit before tracking up. At this point, what I'll be looking for on the euro pound is for it to break above that 8600 level. Break above the 8600 level, we could have a 20 pip, again, a 20 pip stop loss for a good 40 pip take profit level towards the 8651 resistance level. You might have a take profit there, but you could decide to close at a 1:1 or 1:1.5 at 20 to 30 pip towards the upside. But this is again another trade that you can take advantage of with a tight stop loss towards the upside. But if you're going to be trading the euro pound, make sure you pay some attention to what the pound dollar is doing. Pound dollar sitting at the 1.4150 support level right now. But I won't tell you about the pound dollar today. I'll tell you more about that leading up possibly tomorrow.
Okay, thank you, Jin, for the euro currency call. Yeah, so right now I'm going to get Daniel here, Daniel from LCMS Traders. So if you're looking to improve your trading strategy, you need to listen to what Daniel has to share about the LCMS Traders. Daniel.
Okay, thanks, Chinwei. Right, exactly. So yesterday another way of improving is to have a community, just like in the LCMS Traders Club, where we host a community of traders sharing strategies, ideas, analysis, really monitoring the market together, trading together, have discussion. It is really a bit as if it's a part of a professional trading firm. Now, yesterday, what happened was that last night, we had a group coaching sessions. We literally guide through what the current market conditions and how to identify trades and literally make profits together. Okay, so yesterday we looked at what happened last week, for the Aussie news and the NFP, what exactly happened in the NFP news. Have a lot of discussions there, some discussions, and of course, put in a chat group, we can do so. And then how it impact the currency markets, and how do we from there look in the market, fundamentally look in the market for this week, with all the, as Jean already has mentioned, with the ECB coming in and ECB coming in, as well as more other news coming in. How do we look at the trade, and how do we form a trade idea? Okay, and the decision making, whether to hold the active trades or to close the profits. So one example we actually took a look at was, maybe I share my screen here. Okay, I share my screen. was that on the Aussie USD was spoke about yesterday, really very nice, and we also look at preparation coming in, could bounce off the resistance. One was US yen, and US yen, when we look at it, we knew that GDP happened this morning, and looking at what possible trades we could do, we have the fundamental news that NFP was a very bad, not so good US news, and yen was GDP was expected to be negative on the contraction side. But if there is expected or better than expectation, or in fact we for more bullish and better than 0%, that means it's having a positive number, we could see yen strengthening down. And we look at that, we look at say that the trend line coming in, it may move down, but it's quite limited level to push down, and then we have to see how it goes. So this today at GDP again, it was better than expected. However, it's still a negative number, so it didn't move too far down to push down. It did push down a little, okay? It did push down a little before it continues. It seems to be continuing an upward trend. So that's where we could look at what kind of possible trades don't get in the trap, and that's how you could improve your trading, especially when you're a community in the LCMS Traders Club. Okay, so yeah, so that's how I improve, Jinwei.
Okay, thanks for that, Daniel. So I pasted the links in the chat. If anybody wants to join the Traders Club, just head over to tradersclub.lcms.com.sg. Okay, so just a reminder, any information shared during this session is not intended to be a trade recommendation. It is solely the opinion and views of the speaker. So please remember to do your own analysis prior to entering any trades. All right, we have come to the end of the session today. We will see everybody tomorrow for the pound currency call. Thank you so much and bye.